They have arrived, my tomato seeds. Now, when I first started this YouTube channel, back in, I think it was December of 20, not last year, the year before, so over a year ago now. I'm getting a bit confused in my old age with dates and times. But I did do a video a year ago, roughly, about how to sow tomatoes. And for some strange reason, I did it in the polytunnel, which we no longer have. And viewers who watch us fairly regularly are going to know that that got blown away in the storms. But never mind. But I got these tomatoes. And I decided, after doing that first video in that knackered old polytunnel, got over 13,000 views, which was amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm really, really chuffed about it. But I'm doing another video today about tomato seed and sowing them, because last year we got something like 60 odd kilos of tomatoes from one or two varieties, and they were brilliant. And I've still got some in the freezer, as I've mentioned in the past. But I've actually gone and bought 5 different types of tomato because I want variety. That's really the main thing. And secondly, I've come across a company based in Austria, and I'll put a link in the description below so you can have a look at these guys, who supply you with seeds that are from open pollinated plants and are not F1 hybrids. So for me, that's important, because if I want to collect the seeds, I can collect the seeds from a hybrid or an F1 hybrid, and I might get some tomatoes out of it, but I won't get the true plant fruit, if that makes sense. Whereas the guys in front of us here, and I'm going to go through them all in a second, is going to give me just that, as well as an abundant harvest, I hope. Now, this first packet is the only one in the whole selection that hasn't got a picture on it, so I can't really show you what it looks like. But basically, and I certainly can't pronounce some of these names, there's the first one. Borghese principle, I think it translates as, and that is for making sauces. So the majority of these, I'm going to be freezing those. Then we come on to the old favourite, which is Money Maker. That's a lovely picture, isn't it? So that's a salad one, obviously, if you didn't already know. Now we've got some fun ones. This one, basically, as it says, so it's called Yellow Submarine, and it is cherry type tomato, teardrop, and obviously it's yellow. Pretty cool. Got another source tomato here, very popular here in Hungary, but I'm finding it harder and harder to get the variety, and that's Roma. So that's quite a strong, robust tomato for sauces. And then finally, we've got this one here. It's got a black skin to it, but it's a red flesh. What's it called? Indigo Rose. There you go. So that's all our tomatoes. Now, got a tray here, and on this tray is 104 different cells. And these cells are quite small, to be honest with you. And I know some people like the idea of starting their seedlings off in bigger pots, so it saves them having to transplant them or pick them out and put them onto bigger pots and grow them on. I don't have that luxury at the moment because I don't have a massive space to propagate seeds, or germinate seeds rather. And so I've got to be very careful with the space that I do use and use it effectively. Now, the idea is obviously I want to get these guys sown. So I'm going to start with my favourite, which is Money Maker. Now, here's the other thing. One of the confusions I get, I've got no idea how many seeds are going to be in this packet. Don't know. Should I open it? So let's do just that. And see what we've got inside, or how many we've got inside. Can't open it. I'm just going to reach across and get my scissors. Sorry if my response got in the way. So, now the other advantage about having a house to yourself during the daytime, if the weather's a bit miserable outside, you can always do what I'm doing. And pop in here and do your seeding in here without the other half knowing. As long as you clear away any mess that you make, who's to know? Yeah, but she could watch this video. Oh well, secret's out. But looking at that doesn't look like there's massive amounts of seeds in there. I always click a packet just to get, you always get some at the top. So we'll open these up and we'll pop them out. Now, if you've sown tomato seeds before, or even if you've eaten a tomato, you're going to know that the seeds are tiny. So what I've done in this tray, I've filled it with multi-purpose compost, because that's all that's needed, nothing special. And I sieved it to 4 mil. And then pushed it all down. And then what I've done is I've given it a drink, allowed it to drain out so it's got the right amount of moisture in there, popped it in the tray. These are tiny. And then what I've done is, with the end of my biro, is I've made a little indentation. Now, this is going to take some time, so we'll probably cut when I've finished. So I'm halfway through, just done the aromas, and as I was doing that, it made me remember a fact that I should have really told you about at the beginning, and that is that tomatoes are really divided into two types. They're called determinates or indeterminates. Now, as the name suggests, it's all to do with how they grow. So determinate is a predetermined height, should we say. Whereas an indeterminate one, he's a bit more unruly. He's going to go where he wants to go and do what he wants to do, basically. Now, what I found last year, all our tomatoes grow outside, which for us is a massive bonus because it allows us to have an increase in airflow. And because of that, it's easier for me to control the blight, any blight issues. And touch wood, another good reason for being indoors, I'm on a wooden table, we didn't get any blight last year. There's a lot of people that say that you should strip all the leaves down and, cut them right back and only have a few trusses. But my logic is really that if the plant was supposed to grow in a particular way, then let it do it. So if it was supposed to be unruly, okay, have a little bit of control over it, but don't be too mad on it, because I don't reckon it does it any good. But what I do with them is I keep them tidy. I give them a bit of a prune every now and again. But that's about it. I don't do much else. I certainly don't strip down the, the lower branches and all that kind of malarkey, because I don't find that it helps the plant. That's my own preference. And like I say, 60 odd kilos of tomato last year, I think I did all right. You might have a completely different opinion about what I've just said, and I'm more than happy to hear what that might be. But this method works for me in my climate, which is continental warm. Now, that's a bit of a pain because they didn't all come out, these particular seeds. So I'll just take these ones out of my hand first. They're so small. It's incredible to think, when you look at a tomato seed, how small it is, how much you can get from just one seed. It's amazing. These are the tomatoes without a picture. These are a much bigger seed. Still relatively small, but that's what takes the time. If you invest the time in doing this now, you're going to be rewarded with some decent plants. So I'm going to have more than the 16 in this last one, but I'm actually pleased that I've been able to sow all these tomato seeds from these 5 different varieties in this one tray. Because in a second, we're going to pop outside and I'm going to show you my latest gadget. I call it a gadget, to help these guys germinate. And what I'm going to do is they're going to, like I say, I am not able to germinate anything at the moment in a greenhouse because I ain't got one. So I've got to make do with what I've got. And I also have to be aware, make sure I haven't missed any. Well, I thought I did. Yeah, just that one there. I also have to be aware of the cat. I can't leave him out here on the table because he's just going to walk all over the bloody things at me. So, I've got all my seeds in. I just need to put the last label in the corner there. They are a bit too big, these labels. Labels drive me nuts. Anyway, they're all in now. Brilliant. Now what I want to do is just give them a very light covering of compost. That's all I've got to do. So I've got some here, and I'm just literally going to sprinkle it very gently over the top. That's all we need to do. Nothing too mad. If you watch the video about seed germination, it says that you should, you don't sow your seeds any deeper than a couple of times the size or the diameter of the seed itself. So these are quite small. So I'm just giving it such a gentle dusting, no more. And when you think about it, it's quite normal for a seed like this because in the wild, or even in the veggie garden like I had last year when I had a lot of volunteer plants popping up here, there and everywhere, the fruit will just drop to the ground like most fruits do. Fresh rots away. Nobody comes along and covers them like I've just done. There'll be a bit of leaf litter, perhaps. And there we go. Right. That's all done. Because it's in this tray, I can put the water in the bottom of the tray up to a certain point. I don't want too much in there. And then what will happen is that the compost will act as a wick and draw up the water and keep it at the right level. The thing about compost is, as a lot of you may already know, you can't overwater it because what it will do is it will hold the water that it can and then releases the rest like a sponge. And so that's the case here. And the other thing about this is that when they germinate, the roots won't be sitting in water and therefore causing me issues with, what is it? Root rot. There you go. See how it's so hard to say. Anyhow, I won't have that issue. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you outside and show you this new thing because I am going to be using that to get these guys going, get them germinated. And then once they've germinated, we'll then be able to get them out of this thing I'm about to show you and get them into some proper daylight. Because by then, so I'm looking 7 to 14 days at the right temperature for these things to germinate. Then here, I'll have decent temperatures and I won't have to rely on the heat that comes from the wood burning ring as much as I currently do now. So let's go outside. It's only over there and I'll show you what I've got. You're going to love it. So a couple of years ago, what I was trying to do is figure out a way of making some kind of a easy to use propagator. And so I came up with the idea of using these storage boxes. So basically what I've done is turn them upside down. So there's the lid, put my plants in there, pop that on the top, and then I've got a propagator. Worked quite well. And what I could also do, once it's locked into place, I could stack another one on the top. And now I've got this. Now it's not perfect. So what we've got here is basically a propagator on legs. So it has 2 vents at the top and this plastic lid that comes off. Now there's a bit of a problem with this plastic lid, which I'll show you. So basically what I've had to do, put a piece of masking tape across there because it's a hole. So it wouldn't be airtight completely. So that's what I've done. I have used it already. I've got 3 of them and they've worked well. And so the idea is so these boxes are basically like planters. Got 2 supporting struts on there. And so what I'll do is I shall put that tray of tomatoes inside here, pop the lid back on, keep it in the wood burning room at the right temperature. It's going to give me the right humidity. I can control the humidity by opening and closing these vents, obviously. And then when the time is right, I can take that lid away. The other thing about these lids is I don't actually have to use this. The lids do actually fit straight across those trays already, but because I am limited on space and I have got things already growing in the wood burning room, this is going to be an ideal solution for me just to get them germinated. It's also cat proof. So there we go. That's how I sow my tomato seeds. I've got 104 plants here, hopefully they're all going to germinate, be 100% germination rate. And because I can see a few seeds poking through that I missed, and because I've got them from a company, like I say, I'll link down below, based in Austria, I'll be able to save the seeds and use them again next year, and I don't have to buy these anymore. That's the idea. So follow me along the journey to see how it works, because what we need to do here is that once they've germinated, I'm going to be pricking them out. And when I do that video, which I'm expecting to be in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, I'm going to also be talking to you about what to do if you've got any leggy seedlings, because tomatoes are very forgiving. So don't be too worried if your seedlings are too leggy. There's a way that you can rescue them. If you want to know what that is in advance of that video, drop me a line and I'll let you know there. But there'll be a more in-depth video on that particular subject. But they're there. I'm happy about that. I'm going to go and get them in their box in the wood burning room, tuck them all up, keep them all nice and cozy, and then look at them in 7 to 14 days' time and hopefully see a nice mat of green leaves. For now, take care, and I'll catch up with you very soon. Better clean this table before she comes home. Well, she's going to watch the video anyway, so I'll, never mind. See ya.